BrewCraic, zibba dooba dooba, BrewCraic.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another BrewCraic. This is the second one of 2022 and we are delighted to have James, first of all, James Loughran on from Loughran Brewing Stores to chat to two members of the team at OneCircle, Bruno and Natalie. So to get things started, I want you guys to introduce yourselves and tell us who you are and what you do at OneCircle.
All right, shall I kick off? My name is Bruno Braakhuis. Don't try to pronounce it if you're not from the Netherlands. I'm sustainability manager, group sustainability manager for OneCircle, and that implies for the bigger part that I'm trying to take care of circularity of our kegs.
Yeah, so I'm Natalie. Some customers will probably be familiar because I travel the UK and Ireland with regards to our products, KeyKegs. Yeah.
Brilliant. Nice to meet you, and we're delighted to have you on to talk about your product. It's been something we've wanted to do for a long time. I think it's been on the cards to have this chat. So I understand that, James, you possibly have a few questions you'd like to put to the guys.
Thanks, Sean. I suppose to start, I just want to say a huge thanks to both Natalie and Bruno for joining us. It's been ages since me and Natalie and I have seen each other. I think the last time we saw each other was in Sligo at that extravaganza, which was, when was that, Natalie? Was that
2019, I think.
19?
I think so. Maybe
So it's been
20, I'm not sure. It's all one big blur.
Right. It just seems like ages ago. But that was a fantastic weekend. You guys were great and very kind to support us, support that festival along with us. And it was a great example of breweries getting together and having great beer. I think you guys supplied some of the containers for that festival to move beer around. Is that right?
Yeah, we supplied the containers and we collected them afterwards for reuse as well. And we also drank a lot of beer and ate a lot of oysters that weekend from memory.
The oysters were fantastic. I think it was probably the highlight. So we spoke about OneCircle, KeyKegs, UniKegs, how they all interact with each other and what's what. Can you just walk us through for a moment how those what those different names mean and who's who?
Yeah, of course. So we have two products in our product range. So we've got KeyKeg and UniKeg. UniKeg is our spear keg, and it's more popular with cider than beer. We see our main product demand come from KeyKeg because our customers really like the bagging keg technology, so they get the maximum protection of their beer, and they also find that the shelf life is increased when using a KeyKeg. So that is our baby product really, and the one that we've got the key focus on.
Great. So like OneCircle is the overall company, and then OneCircle manufacture two main products, KeyKegs and UniKegs, and so the KeyKeg is the one which, as you said, it's the baby product and the family favorite, I guess.
Yeah, definitely the family favorite and customers favorite as well, which is really good. And just to be a bit more clear, OneCircle is our head for the brand, let's say, and that's more focused on the sustainability side of our products. And Bruno will talk to you a little bit more about that in due course. But we only launched OneCircle about 2.5 years ago, just to kind of bring it all together.
I understand.
Yeah.
So Bruno, you're head of sustainability. So I'm guessing if an organization has a head of sustainability, by the very definition of having somebody in that position, it means that sustainability is a huge factor for OneCircle. Would that be fair to say?
It is, yeah. And to explain a little more about the brand, we used to be called Lightweight Containers. And that is slowly moving towards OneCircle. And I think eventually we just will be, as a company, be OneCircle with a heavy focus on the KeyKeg. So why the KeyKeg? The KeyKeg is primarily designed as a very volatile product that can be used for all kinds of fluids. Because if you change the bag, you can everything that's fluid inside with a prolonged and very long shelf life. So that's why we focus on the KeyKeg on the one hand. On the other hand, it's also designed for recycling, for circularity. So The KeyKeg is both sustainable as well as volatile in its functioning.
So when we first began working with OneCircle and stocking KeyKegs, the original understanding that I had at the time, mistakenly, was that it was a one-way keg, a one-way product, and at the end of that journey, it was thrown away and disposed of. And I think when we first started speaking to some customers about it, they had that same preconception, which I know was not really as accurate as it should be now. Can you tell me how that keg goes about its journey after it's used?
Yes, of course. Well, it is a single-use keg, so it was meant to be for export use mostly, to replace steel kegs, being more sustainable because your carbon footprint is far lower, and the amount of raw materials used is lower as well. So yes, on the one hand, it was disposed of. On the other hand, there was some gain, even environmentally, with use of the KeyKeg for export. But then, as I said, the KeyKeg is designed for sustainability, for circularity. So what we are trying to do now is to get as many kegs back to the Netherlands and afterwards to Germany for having them processed for recycling and create new kegs out of them. And that's a tough operation because it needs the assistance and solidarity of a lot of people to help us collect the kegs.
So the original...
It's quite complex for us as well because we sell our product globally, as you'll know, but also we find that we don't always have full vision of where the product goes. So, for example, if say one of your customers builds a keg, where are they actually sending it to? And sometimes they'll be sending it direct to a customer, but also they'll be sending it to distributors, importers, and so on. So it becomes quite complicated for us to retrieve the kegs from market after they've been used. Saying that, we are doing a great job in the background, which I'll hand back over to Bruno.
Yeah.
So
no,
do you get many of your kegs back from non-European outlets, like so from the US or some of the other jurisdictions where KeyKegs end up?
Yes, we know, not specifically, but we know that most kegs are being sold within Europe. And they are used within Europe as well. We don't know specifically, and that has to do with the fact that we sell to brewers and they might use distributors for exporting them, and they go the world over and you never know where they end up. But as I said, we have some focus countries where we know they will end up definitely, being, for instance, France and the UK and Belgium and the Nordics. And we are setting up collection communities there with collection partners that help us collect the kegs. And currently we are collecting about 10% of everything we produce. And this has to be doubled over the next year. And we try to increase it with 10% annually.
So your ambition is to get that to 20% next year and then 30% the year after that, and to grow that recycled volume.
Yes. And yeah. And 30% is a turning point for us, because now it demands a lot of money to do it. But this is a sacrifice that we are willing to make because we are ambitious in our sustainability objectives. But when we collect about 30%, we are having a sort of a break even.
Very good.
In terms of cost.
So when a KeyKeg is being manufactured, is there recycled content within that product itself?
The KeyKeg is, to our belief, according to ISO 18604, for 86% recyclable. What we do not do as OneCircle is considering thermal recycling as recycling. We consider that still the burning of fossil fuels. So it's not what we want to do. We want to avoid landfill, definitely, and to avoid incineration as much as we can. So thermal recycling is not being considered as being recyclable. Currently, 86% is recyclable, polypropylene and PET, and there are some polyamide parts in the neck that we are trying to make from recyclable materials as well. I've seen the first dummies, so we will be at 90% soon.
So the PET container, which goes around the outside, and then the top and the bottom are made from polyprop. and they're pretty easy to recycle. Are they made from virgin plastics originally by you, or do you also include some recycled content into them when you make them originally?
It's a blend. The inner container of our KeyKeg has to withstand a pressure of up to 16 bar. That's really high amount of pressure for a thin container. So we always need to take care that the quality of the container will withstand the pressure. And recycled PET is a bit weaker, degrades a little, and can withstand less pressure. So we are now experimenting with over 70% recycled material for the containers, and that can withstand the pressure as far as the tests point out so far. So we're trying to increase the volume of recycled materials as much as we can, but due to safety precautions, we always have to watch out for not tempting it to crack when the pressure goes up.
So Bruno, is it a closed loop solution where when you take the keg back and you recycle it, does some of that recycled material go back into new kegs and it stays as a closed circle?
Yes.
Wonderful. So it's very sustainable.
Yes, that's the objective, and that's what we do. So what happens is we collect the kegs, have them compressed by our collectors, and they will be shipped to the Netherlands and for intermediate storage up to 150 tons minimum, and then they will be transported over the border, across the border, for processing. They will be shredded and then separated into the original materials. And we currently have a purity of over 99% in separating the materials. And then they are being processed by our company that granulates the separated materials into new raw materials for producing new kegs.
Super. Sounds like a very closed system, which works quite well so far.
It does. And the challenge is, of course, to keep the clear PET, because the PET is an expensive material and it's food grade clear PET. And we try to keep it on the same quality level as it is as we produce our kegs. And that's, of course, tough. There are many kinds of PET going around, with colors, with fibers, with scavengers in the material. But ours is really high quality, pure material PET.
And have you been impacted by the new directive in relation to single-use plastics and how they are treated in the market?
No, we are not, because the demand is to have a certain quantity of recycled materials in your packaging. And for instance, the UK plastic tax law says it should be 30% as of April 1 this year, and we are currently on 39%, and that will increase gradually. So we are experimenting with more recycled materials use. So it will rapidly go up to 40 or over 40%. So we're
That's
safe.
Fantastic.
Yes,
you're safe, and it's a really good news story, because not only is the product itself made from 40% recycled material, many of the products are recycled back into original KeyKegs, and then by their very function and very action, they're also reducing the CO2 footprint, because instead of a steel keg going out and coming back and cleaning, it just goes out once and then gets recycled back to the KeyKeg. So obviously the total lifetime carbon footprint is significantly less than a steel keg.
Yes, and that's, of course, the comparison is hard. We are implementing now LCA, life cycle assessment. We have one of my colleagues who is educated in creating the LCA for us, and we are going to use that as a basis for trying to find the wheels that we can turn for getting more sustainable with whatever step we take. For instance, reducing the mass of the keg is very important, and less material use, less components. So we're doing the utmost to reduce our footprints.
Very good. So I know from talking to customers and speaking with them that overall the performance of the KeyKegs is really good. But I have spoken to a small number who've had some technical difficulties with KeyKegs, and very often it doesn't happen very often, but very occasionally when it happens, it's usually related to filling. Natalie, is there anything in relation to filling the KeyKegs that customers should bear in mind to make sure that they don't run into any problems?
Yeah, well, I'll start, Natalie. You can add your opinion on this. One of the things that often happens is that there is a basic pressure inside the keg of 2 bars. Yeah. So if you're filling at a too low a pressure, for instance, around 2 bars, the danger is that it's having a return flow. So you always need to have sufficient pressure to make sure it fills correctly. So that's one thing.
Okay.
Natalie, is there something else that you would like to add to this?
No, you are correct, Bruno. So making sure that the pressures are correct is really, really important, because we want the bag to expand against the wall of the keg quite smoothly. And what we find is when customers get into possible habits of not having a manometer on their filling head, or just using standard tank pressure and not having a pump, that we do find that they get a higher failure rate. There's always points for us as well. We're always innovating and looking at our QA process, but those 2 factors, so one is that what we've mentioned about the filling pressure, but also making sure you're filling upside down, are the 2 key elements to filling.
Yeah.
What's the significance of filling upside down, Natalie? Why does that matter?
To allow the liquid to go into the keg a lot smoother. So if you're filling right side up, and remember the bag is just a bag, so there's no spearing, the liquid is just going straight into the keg and without any consistency. So filling upside down is the best.
Oh, so the bag is suspended from the top, and when it would have to carry the load of the liquid as it fills if you fill it right side up, but if you turn it upside down, the bag itself does not have to support the weight of the load. Yeah,
definitely. And what you find is when you watch the 2 filling situations, so a keg right side up or upside down, you see how the bag expands naturally against the wall of the keg. So
it goes more gradual. Yeah, it's more gradual. Gravity does some assistance.
Okay, I understand. That makes sense, and it would explain some of the very, very small problems and limited issues that some people have had, and it's great to know that those 2 things, which are relatively easy to fix, can really solve the vast majority of the problems that some people occasionally may have.
Yeah, and we're open to supporting customers as well. What we find is there's a few bad habits in market, so just that little refresher of the filling instructions is always helpful. So if there's ever any concerns, we're always here to help.
Yeah, like we know that, and I know Will has spoken to you regularly and gotten support. We've had some customers ask you for advice and guidance, and you guys have been absolutely super at helping us whenever we had any small problems at all. It's been a pleasure so far.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and you know, this
from what I'm hearing is that this video that we're doing and this interview is really useful for our brewers, and I'm glad we're doing it, because there's a lot of information that I, from a marketing perspective, wouldn't have realized. But also, you know, there's only so much you can read up online and everything, but I think by you telling us this, I think it's really, really insightful and good information for our brewers.
I think it's really important, because where we've come from and where we're going to with the sustainability has changed so much in the last couple of years. So my first meeting with you, James, we were sat at that 30% recycled content, and all the work that we've done over the last couple of years with our collection partners of used kegs is allowing us to keep increasing that recycled content. And like you've mentioned, April was the taxation that comes into place, and that's not powering what we're doing to be above the 30%. It's always been there in the background, but we've gone from the infancy stage to now having a formed collection community.
Yeah, it's really grown massively over the last couple of years, and how you guys have improved that sustainability and grown and reduced that footprint and improved that collection and recycling system. I know it's taken a huge amount of work, I guess, since 2018, 2019.
Yeah, I think it's nice that we can say to our customers now as well. So if one of your customers is sending a product to Manchester or to London, we know that they've got a solution for the end of life of keg to give their customers, and it's so important that that message keeps getting across, definitely.
Very good,
Yes.
very good. So KeyKegs, they're mostly made in, you guys have a manufacturing facility in Den Helder in the Netherlands, and also Siem in near Newcastle in England, right?
Yes, and we have another 3. We have one in Joliet in the United States. We have one in Guadalajara in Spain, and one in Großbeitenbrach in Germany.
Sorry, what was the name of that last place?
Großbeitenbrach. Don't try this at home.
I will not. I will not.
Don't try and Google it either.
So yeah, we have five production lines.
And KeyKegs come in a couple of different sizes, right? So I know the basic that we normally stock is the 30 litre, but there's a 20 litre, right?
And a 10 litre.
20 and
And a 10 litre.
Yeah.
Is it 10 litres used in brewing so much, or are they more specialty drinks, or where do you see the 10 litres being used mostly?
I think that's a question for me. So 20 litres we tend to find used for wine and cider, and
Okay.
10 litres tends to be more high ABV.
Oh, okay, yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, high ABV and just those one-off specials for customers.
And then there's a couple of different filler caps, right? Because I know we've got like S-type and I think D-type, and I lost track a couple of months ago, and Will tried to explain it to me one evening, but unfortunately a couple of pints on board, and I just went in one ear and out the other. So can you please remind me what the differences are?
Yeah, of course. So KeyKeg has its own unique fitting. And the reason for that is there's never any propellant going into the product. So when the brewer or the cider maker fills the keg, the air is being circulated around the bag and pushing the product out. And then for the Unikeg product, we've got the S-type and the D-type.
And there you're more in line with your traditional keg filling, keg handles, right? Keg couplers.
Yeah, I think for the UK, Sankey is probably the most popular. I'm not quite sure for Ireland. I think it's an A-type.
Yeah, I thought it was a Sankey, but I'm not.
Probably a mixture of Sankey and ale.
Probably a mixture of both.
Yeah.
So what's next? What are you guys hoping to push out and encourage through during 2022? What's the next piece on the list for you?
Well, for me, it's trying to double the number of kegs that we collect. So
yeah,
anyone who feels inspired by this video for the collection of the kegs and assist us in this quest is very welcome to contact us. We're always looking for partners to expand our collection community.
I think we can get that message across as well in our social media and in our word of mouth as well.
Yeah, and like I said, the more kegs we collect, the easier it becomes because it's a numbers game. Another thing is that we are looking at the market as well. The availability of PET is a little bit under pressure, and from recycled PET as well, and the prices are pretty high. So we have to collect as many kegs as we can, also as a source of our raw material. So the knife cuts on both sides here.
So if I am a producer of a large amount of empty kegs, perhaps I own a chain of pubs or a particularly large pub which uses a lot of kegs, what is the best way for me to recycle them? Do I put them in my general recycling bin and let my local waste management company take care of them, or should I contact you or do something differently?
Well, first you need to depressurize the thing because there's still a lot of pressure on it. And when you depressurize the keg, it's quite easy to flatten it with your feet, for instance. And before you do that, it's very easy to remove the black parts. If you turn the keg around and you stand on the grip ring with your shoes, you can pull off the bottom part, the base cup, and if you turn it around, you can screw off the grip ring, and then you can really compress the keg yourself, and it makes it easier to dispose of, or better, to store it for a while and have us collect them.
So you guys will actually come and collect them and take them away if I will, if
Well,
if I have
depends
to.
on the area. For instance, we have partners that actively collect, and they charge you a very little amount for the service, and then they are being collected on a central point where they are eventually being taken to the Netherlands. And sometimes there is a drop-off point, hopefully nearby. But like I said, it's a big island, the United Kingdom, so we need more collection points and drop-off points to make this work optimally.
And is there a list of current drop-off points or collection areas on your website, or somewhere where people can go to get a little bit more information?
We are releasing a website within this month, and there will be the availability of drop-off points, and collection partners will be there.
Great. Well, we'll make sure to share that out across all our social media channels when we know a little bit more about it, and so we can tell our customers, and they can tell their own distributors where the closest place to recycle a keg might be.
Yes.
Ireland, we work quite closely with Wine Lab for collections, but if any of your customers are exporting to the UK or France and they want to know what the best solution is, we can give them that information.
Super. That's fantastic. Are you based in Den Helder, or where's your?
Yeah, I'm based in Den Helder. I started on September 8th last year, so I'm 4 or 5 months now working on this.
Well, hopefully I'll be in the Netherlands later on in the year, maybe in May, and it would be great to come to Den Helder and see the manufacturing process and see what you guys do.
I show you around. You're always welcome.
I think James has slightly attempted the green wall in the background there, but I think if he's over there, make sure to show him the wall you've got going on.
Yeah, well, it's a living wall, so it's all about green, isn't it?
It's a living wall.
Yeah, it's a living wall. Yeah.
So.
Okay, that's better than mine, which is just pink.
Yeah.
So you.
It's a bit boring. Sorry.
Yeah, it is. But I can put anything on it. You know, I can. It takes any of the backgrounds a lot easier.
Oh, it's the green one. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. Natalie, I know you're obviously covered UK. Are you Manchester where you're based, or where something for you?
I'm based in Berkshire, but travel most of the UK.
Okay.
Yesterday I was up at our factory in Seaham. So if you're ever in Newcastle area as well, there's also a factory there for you to have a look at.
Do like to get to Newcastle when we can. The guys at Wylam are always a great place to go and visit, and for great beer. And Seaham, I know, is not far away. So next time we head that way, we'll make sure to give you a shout, and hopefully we'll be able to get a look around the factory.
Yeah,
Will do.
We've got a big craft beer following in the area.
Yeah. Newcastle's a fun town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting on the ground a bit more as well. So hopefully get to meet you in person.
Amazing.
Would be great.
Yeah.
Natalie, just before we go, before we go, 3 years ago now, you guys were very supportive of the Fidelity Beer Festival that was held in Dublin with Whiplash hosted it. And my understanding is that's happening again this year. Are you guys supporting that again, or what's the position on that?
We're happy to support most festivals, even if it's just with a collection of kegs. So yeah, just get in touch, let us know what you need, and we'll review it here.
Yeah, that's grand, because I think that was a great opportunity to get talking to breweries outside our normal kind of catchment area, because they did so many collabs with people in the States and across Europe. A lot of those kegs had to be transported into Ireland. My understanding is pretty much all of them used KeyKegs, and it was a great opportunity to get a little bit of exposure for everybody to a whole broad range of breweries.
Yeah, it's great when we're seeing different customers send products from overseas, and we know that we're collecting those kegs at the end of the festivals and so on. It's just a shame that there wasn't so many last year, so hopefully this year is booming. Fingers crossed. Joan, you probably won't know what's hit you when you get out, and you've got
I really won't.
the weeks.
I think I started, was it 2 weeks before the pandemic hit, and then so it's been in and out of getting to different places and to see. But I think these BrewCraics have definitely helped me in meeting some of the industry leaders, I suppose.
I think there's nothing better than going to a festival and speaking to your customers and seeing what's going on as well.
Best way to get to it, isn't it?
Have you any favourites, Natalie, festival-wise?
I'm not going to say. I'm not letting anything out.
Oh,
I was hoping
you're so
political.
political.
Yeah, I was hoping that you wasn't going to ask me my favourite beer, because I would have a little panic of what to choose. But I mean, it's different, isn't it? So like in the next couple of weeks is BrewCraic, which is a big event for our industry, but then the festival is a totally different kettle of fish, and it's a lot more about the social side than the commercial. So yeah. Bit of everything this year, hopefully.
Yeah, I think BrewCraic lands on St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's weekend, I think it is, or St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, unfortunately, I have other commitments and can't make it. But BrewCraic is always a good event, and it's a very trade focused event. So you always get a chance to meet a lot of great customers and great brewers there.
Well, the Liverpublicans will really, really like celebrating St. Patrick's Day, so it might be a good change. You never know.
Could be a good excuse.
Yeah, basically, thank you guys. Thank you, Bruno and Natalie and James, for coming on and having this great conversation. I think it was needed, and I think our viewers will be grateful for it. So thank you.
Well, thank you too for your time and the opportunity.
Good to see you both as well.
Thanks, Brent.